The DK Metcalf trade aftermath. What should the Steelers do now? Big Deke news. All right, I'm recording this a couple hours removed from the DK Metcalf trade on Sunday night. And you're probably going to be seeing this at some point early Monday morning. Wanted to just get my thoughts out there, get this video out there before it becomes obsolete, because the legal tampering period is starting on noon on Monday, March 10th. So maybe at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, the Steelers are going to have their quarterback, and this video is not going to matter for the most part at all. But wanted to get it out here because there are some DK Metcalf trade ramifications. There are some thoughts that I have on what this could mean for our quarterback situation. Does it put one person ahead of the other of the quarterbacks that are available? What does this mean for the Steelers' leverage over who they may sign at quarterback? I think that's pretty impactful. I don't know if it's really being talked about that much. And then we'll talk DK Metcalf trade as it relates to George Pickens, and then some TJ Watt stuff at the end because Myles Garrett did get that big deal with the Cleveland Browns. But let's start with quarterback. DK Metcalf, now a Pittsburgh Steeler. Who's going to be throwing him the ball? What should the Steelers do at the quarterback position? I think a lot of people are saying Russell Wilson is just coming back. I think the DK Metcalf trade signals Russell will be our guy for 2025. It's going to be a thing. It's common sense. Just make the connections, put two and two together. But I don't know if that's really the case here. I don't. One, because, as I said in my DK Metcalf instant reaction video, DK Metcalf helps any quarterback. You see what he did the last few years with Geno Smith out there. You saw what he did with Russell Wilson. So I don't think it really matters what quarterback we have here. Almost like Justin Jefferson with the Vikings. Justin Jefferson is going to put up numbers no matter who's the quarterback. I think it could safely be said also for DK Metcalf. He's going to help whatever offense he's in. He's going to help whatever quarterback he's in, and that quarterback is going to be smart about who he gets the ball. He's going to be smart about trying to feed DK Metcalf because that's going to help his numbers. That's going to help the offense in general. So I don't necessarily think Russell Wilson, the Steelers, set in stone or anything like that, or now he has the edge over the other quarterbacks that are available. We've been hearing over the last week or so, Justin Fields, Steelers' first priority. And now we're seeing that the Steelers may offer Sam Darnold a contract. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers' name has been thrown into the mix. So I don't think Russell Wilson becomes now the Steelers' first priority now that we got DK Metcalf, and those two had a connection back in the day in Seattle. What I do think this does for the Steelers, though, and I don't know how much this is being talked about, I think the timing of this trade was impeccable by Omar Khan. I think the Steelers now are heading into free agency. The day before the tampering period starts, we make this trade. I don't think it's a coincidence because now the Steelers are a super attractive team to these available quarterbacks. I think the Steelers have leverage on the situation. Before, when we're talking about Fields being the priority or maybe us trying to bring Sam Darnold in here, trying to get Aaron Rodgers, I don't know if the Steelers necessarily had the leverage because of how our offense looked on paper as we sat here in the first week or so of March. All we got was George Pickens and some, for the most part, unproven receivers. Now, again, Calvin Austin had a pretty solid year last year, but as your number two, Calvin Austin, not looking too promising. And then Arthur Smith, who is a proven offensive coordinator, but obviously the offense, him, Russ, all that didn't really end properly in 2024 with that 0-5 record and not putting up more than 17 points. So a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, like a Justin Fields, who may have some other suitors like the New York Jets, a team that may be willing to go all in on Fields, give him a good contract, give him starting guarantees, and then even like a Sam Darnold, if Seattle's looking at him, I don't know how much leverage the Steelers had or how much attractiveness the Steelers had necessarily to those quarterbacks. But now we got DK Metcalf. Now we got DK Metcalf, George Pickens, Freiermuth. Now Calvin Austin as your 3 or 4 looks a lot better than being at your 2. Steelers have leverage because now they're probably thinking to themselves, oh, we got DK Metcalf, we got Pickens. Look at this offense. We can make it work with whatever quarterback. Like, we ain't stressing about overpaying one of these guys. We're not stressing overpaying Fields, even if he is the priority. Oh, now we'll just, okay, Fields, you don't like our deal? We think that's fair, given our situation and the things that we can offer you. You don't like that, though? All right, Rodgers, how about this? This is what we're thinking. Who's going to give you a better situation than what we are in terms of receivers? Yeah, maybe you could get a little bit more elsewhere. Maybe you could get more with the Giants. But who's the better organization between us and the Giants? Who's giving you some better receivers? You've already made a ton of money in your career. You can afford to take like $5 million less, right? Who's going to give you the better opportunity to prolong your career than what the Steelers got going right now? Steelers have leverage. Steelers actually have some cachet right now when it comes to offense and what these quarterbacks may be looking for. Same thing with Darnold. Same thing with Russ. I think one of these quarterbacks is going to be willing to take a pay cut. Is going to be willing to take lesser of a deal to have DK and Pickens as their receivers. I think if it's true that Fields is still the Steelers' first priority, Steelers can be asking Fields right now, okay, you want to go to the Jets? Or do you want to stay here, have that continuity you've been talking about, and have DK Metcalf and Pickens to throw to? They're offering you what, 20, maybe 21, 22? How's our 15 look now? Maybe our 15 that we were talking about doesn't look as good a couple days ago. How's our 15 look now, though? Which situation gives you the better long-term viability? So you could take more money, but you're going to the Jets. You can come back here and maybe prove that you're a franchise guy, and then that big contract's going to be coming down the line. Same thing for Sam Darnold. Same thing can be said for Sam Darnold. You want to go to the Giants? You want to go to like the Titans? You want to go to one of these other teams? Or you want to go to the Steelers for 2025, even if your market's 30. Same thing for Rodgers. What's a better situation to prolong your career than here at this point? Maybe a team could offer you more money, but who's offering you DK Metcalf and George Pickens as your receivers? Russ, same thing. So I think this is a huge aspect flying under the radar as we head into free agency on Monday, today, noon. Legal tampering period starts. Steelers got some leverage, man. I think they do. I don't think they're stressing about overpaying Fields or Fields going to the Jets. Okay, you don't want to be a part of this offense? I know we're offering you a little bit less, but there is still something to be said for your surroundings. Want to go to the Jets? Look how that worked for pretty much any other free agency or free agent, big name free agent that went to the Jets. Le'Veon Bell. Come on. You want to go to the Jets? You think that's going to be better for your long-term prospects than being a Pittsburgh Steeler now that we got DK Metcalf? I think it also gives the Steelers leverage on the Pickens contract stuff too. Like Pickens, if you don't want to be here, or you don't necessarily like our contract extension offer, how's a trade to Jacksonville for a second-round pick sound? Because now we got our number one pick, or our number one receiver here, who's more reliable than you and more proven than you. And if we trade you, we'll draft a guy in the first or second round then to replace you. We got our number one. We got a guy that we could count on more than you. Less drama, all that stuff. So we're not necessarily stressing about a Pickens contract extension either, because before DK, if we lost Pickens, then who do we got? Granted, it was safe to assume we were going to address receiver position somehow, some way in free agency or the draft, but a lot more leverage, a lot more flexibility when DK Metcalf's on your roster as opposed to not, or opposed to having a Darius Slayton or a Keenan Allen across from Pickens, or you having a rookie across from Pickens. DK Metcalf, that hits a little bit different. Now, I repeat, I do not want to trade George Pickens. I don't want to trade Pickens. I really want to see what him and DK Metcalf can do together. It should be lethal. They're a top 5 receiver duo in the league right now. It's crazy. Going back to quarterback real quick, like as I kind of wrap up what we're doing on offense now after this DK trade, I think it's the quarterback. We just wait. I don't think there's really anything more to say. We just wait. I referenced the Steelers being interested in Darnold. Supposedly they're going to be offering him a contract. Fields testing the open market. Russ and Rodgers, they've been talked about, connected to the Steelers for the last few weeks. I think it's just going to come down to it being one of those 4. And who's it going to be? Who has the most interest of those quarterbacks in coming to the Steelers? Who's maybe willing to give up some stuff, maybe take a pay cut. Who do the Steelers really see leading this team? Who do they think is going to be the best fit for 2025 to get us back to a championship and going forward? What do they think is going to be the right route between those 4 guys? That's it. I think we got to wait. I think it's going to be one of those 4. Might find out as soon as today, but it's going to be soon. It's going to be soon. Probably, again, like 12 hours, 10 hours after posting this video, it's going to be obsolete, and we're going to have our quarterback. Now, what about T.J. Watt then? Because Myles Garrett got that big deal from the Browns. He saw Max Crosby's $35 million per year deal with the Raiders, and is like, all right, I'll raise you that. Well, let's go 40 with the Browns. And TJ's looking at, again, both of those deals, Max Crosby 35, Myles Garrett at 40, and saying, well, I deserve at least 40. I'm better than both of those guys. Which makes it a tricky situation for the Steelers. It really does. Is TJ worth that money? Obviously, that's what the market's saying. Is it smart for the Steelers to be paying TJ Watt $40 million with him being 30 years old, coming off of his arguably worst season in a minute? And, we saw how he finished the season, little impact. It's still TJ Watt, though, still in a down year, was a top candidate for Defensive Player of the Year. So there's still something to be said for having TJ on your team. I want TJ back. I think we all want TJ back. But 40 it doesn't seem like the right number. Now, I get it. We're TJ fans, and we're looking at like, oh, Myles Garrett's getting that money. TJ, he should be getting more, right? TJ's better than Myles Garrett. Give him the bag, but just because the Browns are paying Myles Garrett 40 or the Raiders are paying Max Crosby 35 doesn't mean the Steelers have to do that. Is anyone saying that Browns deal for Myles Garrett is necessarily smart? Because Myles Garrett's in a similar situation as TJ. He's 30 years old. Is he going to age out that contract good? Is he going to age like a fine wine here? 30 going into the next, 4 or 5 years? Is he getting better? Those are questions we have about TJ Watt. Is he going to be getting better as time goes on? $40 million says you're getting better, right? We gave TJ Watt his big set the market contract where we're hoping you at least live up to the level of what the contract is or outplay it. And to TJ's credit, he outplayed it. But now we're sitting with TJ being 30, coming off of the end of the season that he had. This league's shifting everything towards offense. We saw what our team looked like last year with TJ Watt getting paid the way that he was, our defense getting paid the way that it was, and our defense getting destroyed for the most part down the stretch against really good offenses and against contenders. So it's fair to wonder if we should pivot that strategy. And, I mean, signing DK Metcalf or trading for DK Metcalf I think is a step in the right direction. But now it's like, okay, there's a salary cap, so what do we do with this other money? How do we finish out the rest of this team here? I think ultimately the Steelers and TJ do get a deal done, but is it going to be for 40? I think 40 just is too much, man, at this point. It really is. I think I was hoping for 25, 27, but I think the happy medium for both team and player could be 30. It could be like a $30 million deal, but that might be disrespectful to TJ. But then it just comes down to, what does TJ want? Does TJ really want to be a Steeler for life? Does he want to be a part of the solution here? Does he want to bring this team back into championship form, help bring this team back into championship form? Or does he want to set the market? Does he want to get paid $41, $42 million? I think it's fair to question if the Steelers would be better off trading TJ versus paying him 40 plus. I don't think in a vacuum the Steelers are better off without TJ Watt. But this is a salary cap league. You got to pay certain players certain amounts of money, and it's all got to add up at the end. Like the Eagles, I'm sure, they would have liked to have kept Darius Slay, right? In a vacuum. Darius Slay helped them win a Super Bowl last year. Big name corner. Not completely washed. Was all right. Was solid for them. But they got to pay other players. They got to use that money elsewhere. And with where Darius Slay was at that point in his career, low 30s in terms of his age, made sense for them to move on. Save him some money, allocate that money elsewhere, re-sign Bond at linebacker, That's where they're at. And with TJ 40, is it better to get picks, use that money elsewhere? It's legitimately a fair question. That's all I'm saying. I want TJ Watt back just like I want Pickens back. I want TJ Watt back. But man, it's just a lot of money. It's a lot of money. Just because the Browns did it with Myles Garrett doesn't mean the Steelers got to do it. The Browns, does anyone actually think, sure, they made this big move with Myles Garrett, it's making headlines and everything. Does anyone actually think they're a step closer to winning a championship because of that move? No, it probably actually would have been smarter for them, given that their record last year and how they're handcuffed with this Deshaun Watson situation and that contract. Probably would have been smarter for them to start a rebuild. Because now you got this Myles Garrett contract plus the Deshaun Watson contract you're going to be dealing with for not only next year and whenever the contract is officially done, but even years after that, because they spread it out to where they got void years they got to worry about with dead cap hits. So again, just because the Browns did it, the Raiders did it, does that mean the Steelers got to do it, given all the context surrounding TJ Watt and where the Steelers are at as a franchise right now? I think it's just fair to question, man. I think it's fair to question. But with the Myles Garrett thing, how about that, though? Said he wanted to go to a Super Bowl contender. The money talked. I guess the money was a little bit louder than his desire to go to a Super Bowl contender because, again, I don't think the Browns are – what has changed about their team or their circumstance a couple weeks ago when he requested a trade versus now? It's just he's getting paid more money, and I think him taking up that much of their cap hit at 30, I don't know if that's I don't think that's helping them win a Super Bowl or be good anytime soon. I don't think that's helping them. So I think that Super Bowl talk was that serious then, apparently. Guess it was just to get the money. I guess so. Actions speak louder than words. But that's it for this little update vid here on what the Steelers may be doing going forward. I want TJ Watt here. Like, don't get it twisted. I want TJ Watt here. My bet is they do figure something out, and it's probably going to be a number. It's going to be like 30, 31, 32, where I'll be like, okay, let's see. Let's just see how this contract ages out. Let's see how it happens. Because with Cam Hayward, that's the thing. Think of how we handle Cam Hayward. Now, TJ Watt, I think, is a better player than Cam Hayward. He's like a higher tier above Cam Hayward as an all-time player. But Cam wanted top 5 interior defensive tackle or defensive lineman money last offseason. He didn't get that. He ended up signing for a little bit more of an upgrade, but it was still in the teens. It was in the mid-teens. So I think the Steelers are going to bring that type of stuff up to TJ. It's like, bro, how bad do you really want to be here? How bad are you willing to take a pay cut? How bad do you want to be a part of the solution to get us back to the championship? Because a part of that will be maybe playing less than your market value and enabling us to use that money to build the team up around you. I mean, this is all part of it right now. It really is. Like, let's just not ignore it and say, oh, they did it. We got to pay TJ 40. It's just a no-brainer move. Like, we got to do it because it's TJ Watt. We want him back, but we also want to build the best team possible. And we've seen the impact with TJ Watt on this team and winning playoff games. It's just not completely there. It hasn't been. No matter what point in his career you're talking about, prime, when he's been getting paid, when in depoys, rookie deal, last year, whenever it is, we haven't been able to win a playoff game. Now, that may change with us upgrading the offense a little bit. Like, there's also something to be said in just saying, F it, we're going all in, right? We're going all in. These next couple of years, we're trying to build up the best team possible. We're trying to build a super roster like the Eagles have done and the Rams have done in the past. F it. But you should still try to get TJ for something less than 40. I'll just put it to you that way. Something less than 40. Because I don't think if you had to bet me money, you're paying TJ $40 million. I don't think he's outplaying that contract like he did 4 or 5 years ago when he got his big deal. I think it's a crazy thing to say. I don't think he's outplaying it. Is he living up to the contract? Maybe. It's probably safer to assume he doesn't completely live up to it, though, given his age and all that stuff. But, yeah, because you're paying him. If you're paying him that money, you're expecting him to be getting better going forward. Is there precedent for that? at age 30 for TJ? Is there precedent for? I don't think there's too many. I don't. TJ could be the outlier there, and if TJ's the outlier, I also wouldn't be like crazy surprised there either. But we saw what happened last year. Yeah. Offense, a better offense could help the defense, though. That could help out TJ Watt as well. I like where we're at, though. I do like where we're at. There's no urgency right now to get this TJ Watt deal done. I think we're going to wait it out. And same thing with Pickens, the Pickens extension. I like where we're at. I think the Steelers are in a good spot. I think this DK Metcalf trade just builds up a lot of leverage. I think it also sends a message to a guy like TJ Watt that may enable him or make him more willing to take a pay cut because he sees a DK Metcalf trade. He sees that we're serious about this shit now. We're not messing around, bro. Like, you take this pay cut, or you take less than market value, this is what we're doing with your money. We're making serious moves here. So that's it. Yeah. More vids are going to be on the way. Might try to go live at some point too. I gotta get that situated. I think that'll be pretty cool if we do some live reactions to some of these moves and just the state of the Steelers as free agency goes on and this offseason goes on. Stay tuned for that. But obviously, yeah, the content's going to be dropping with free agency starting up here. That's it. Yeah, stay chilling. Peace.